Hello, welcome to all. In this video class, I am going to explain the topic plant families, that is Malvaceae plant family. We know that angiosperms are classified into different plant families based on their similarity and difference. Among these, one family is called Malvaceae. First of all, we need to study the systematic position of plant belonging to this Malvaceae. So, first of all, it comes under the category of angiosperm. So, its division is angiosperm. Class Dicotyledons. And subclass, it comes under Polypetalae. Order Malvaceae. And then comes the family Malvaceae. And this Malvaceae family consisting of vast and wide variety of plant species. So here we are going to study the general features of the family Malvaceae. Before going to study the details of this family, we want to know few examples or few plants belongs to this family. So when you look here, you can see a few plants are mentioned here. Among this one is called Abutilon, and second one is called Malva silvestris, and third one is called Sida. Sida can be in different form. Sida exists in different form. Sida acuta, Sida cordifolia. In Malayalam, we can say that Kurundoti. And like that, Urina plant, hibiscus. We are all familiar with this plant. Hibiscus, China rose, Chembarathi. Gossypium, it exists in different species. Gossypium hirsutum, Gossypium arboreum, like that. And sixth one is called Ebelmoscus esculentus, lady's finger. And seventh one is called Kidia, and eighth one is called Althea. These are all the few examples of plant belongs to the Malvaceae. So before going to study the topic Malvaceae, it is better to view the structure, view the pictures of all those plants. Then you can easily able to study the topic very clearly. For that purpose, I will give you the detailed pictures of all these plants. So first of all, let us move into the topic Malvaceae. Here you can see the picture of one plant, that is Hibiscus rosa sinensis, that is China rose. So first of all, let us try to study the root system of this Malvaceae family. So the root system include all the root system of plant that I mentioned here. So actually the plant which come under the Malvaceae is a dicotyledonous plant. That is why they have only a well developed taproot system is present. So the root system is taproot, and they are highly branched. And we know that taproot consisting of primary, secondary and tertiary root. That roots are collectively called taproot. And like that, we need to study its habit and habitat. Normally, the Malvaceae family includes some plants are herbs and some plants are shrub, and very few plants are tree. If you look at the examples that I written here, you can see some herbs. Herbs means it's a tiny plant. So you can see Abutilon, Sida, Urina, Abutilon, Sida, Urina, Malva silvestris. All these plants belongs to the herbs because they are tiny plants. So Malvaceae include herbs. And like that, we can see shrub also. For example, let us take the case of hibiscus. It is a shrub. It is not a big tree. It is not a small plant. That hibiscus include in the category of shrub. Like that, you can see trees. For example, if you take the case of Gossypium arboreum, it's a tree. So the Malvaceae family include herb, shrub and trees. That is about the habit. And we already studied the root. The root is a taproot system that consisting of primary, secondary and tertiary root, and that root system is also highly developed and highly branched. Okay. Next. Let us take the stem, morphology of that is stem. The stems of this plant Malvaceae family, they are highly erect. Stems are highly erect and they are branched. And the stem contain numerous stellate hairs. Stem contain numerous stellate hairs. Stellate hairs means a hair having lobed margins, like that. It's a hair having lobes at its free edge. That is called stellate hairs. And some stems are woody stems. Some stems are woody stems, showing secondary decay. For example, if you take the case of hibiscus, you can see the woody stem. And some are herbaceous. Some are herbaceous. That is highly delicate stem. This is about the case of stem in Malvaceae family. And let us move into the another part. That is, now we already discussed root, stem and habit. Leaf. When you take the case of leaf, the leaf is usually simple. And their phyllotaxy, arrangement of leaf on the stem, you can see the leaves are arranged. The leaves are arranged in an alternate order. That is, the stem phyllotaxy, leaf phyllotaxy is alternate. That is simple, alternate. And most of the plant contains stipule. That is why it is called stipulate. Whereas very few plants lack stipule. That is why we can also say that few plants are exstipulate. So simple, alternate, stipulate. And that leaf possesses a definite pedicel. So petiole. That is why we can say that leaf is petiolate leaf. It contains a stalk. That is called petiole. Whereas in some cases, some plant lack petiole. That is why we mentioned it is a petiolate. If the leaf lack petiole, then such leaf is called sessile. But here it is not a sessile, it is a petiolate. And you can see the venation. This venation is called reticulate venation. That is the unique feature of dicot plant, reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. So leaf is simple, alternate, stipulate, petiolate, reticulate venation. And one more thing about this family is that they have a specific margin on the leaf. That is called serrate margin with sharp tip. Serrate margin with acute tip. Serrate margin with acute tip. That is, their margin contains a tooth-like structure, sharp structure, and they have a sharp end. That is why it is called serrate margin with acute tip. That is the main features of the leaf Malvaceae family. So this is about the leaf. Usually the leaf are simple, not a compound leaf. In some cases the leaf may be lobed, but it is not a compound. It is usually a simple leaf. And that leaf contains, in most of the cases, that leaf contains stipulate. That is why it is called stipulate leaf. Okay, that is about the leaf. Next, let us move into the inflorescence. Usually the Malvaceae family consisting of different type of inflorescence, whereas in case of hibiscus, in case of cedar, like that, if you take that case, the inflorescence is usually solitary sign. It is a solitary sign. Whereas in some cases we can see, in rare cases you can see panicle, and in other cases you can see raceme. So most of the cases the inflorescence may be solitary. It may be either terminal or axillary in position. For example, let us take the case of Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Its inflorescence is a solitary. Its inflorescence is solitary sign, but they are present at axillary in position. Whereas in case of abutilon, let us take the case of abutilon. That its inflorescence is also solitary, but they are terminal in position, whereas in case of hibiscus it is axillary in position. That is the difference between. Whereas in rare cases, some plant shows inflorescence like a panicle and raceme. Let us take the case of Althea. Its inflorescence is raceme. Whereas in some other cases, the plant shows panicle inflorescence. That is called idiom. So, in rare cases, Malvaceae family shows inflorescence like panicle and raceme. That is about the inflorescence of Malvaceae. And when we move into the another part, that is called the flower. Flowers are usually bisexual and they are actinomorphic. Means we can able to make two equal halves through any plane passing through the floral axis. That is why it is called actinomorphic. Okay, you can also represent it in the form of a small symbol like this or like this. Actinomorphic. And the floral parts, when we take the case of floral parts, they are tentamerous. That is, the number of floral appendages like sepal, petal, stamen, carpel, they are 5 or multiples of 5. That is why it is called pentamerous. And they have superior ovary. That is why they are called hypogynous flower. Hypogynous, they have superior ovary. And that flower contains bract. That is why we can call it is a bracteate flower. In some cases like hibiscus, they can also have bracteole in the form of an epicalyx. When we take the case of hibiscus, you can see this is the sepal. Below that sepal, at the base of the sepal, you can see small epicalyx. That epicalyx is considered as the bracteole here. So, this is about the flower. Bisexual, actinomorphic, pentamerous, hypogynous, bracteate, and in some cases it is bracteolate also. And the number of bracteole vary in different plant species. It may be either 2 to 3, 4 to 7, something like that. For each species, the number of bracteole may be varying. That is about the floral description. Okay. Now we need to study the different floral appendages. When we move into the floral appendages, the floral appendage is consisting of a calyx. We represent calyx in the form of K. And second one is called corolla, C. Third one is called androecium. Fourth one is called gynoecium, represented as G. And calyx is made up of simple unit that is called sepal. And we can represent the sepal in the form of like this. Look. This is the representation of sepal. Like that corolla is made up of petal. You can represent like this. Petal. And androecium is made up of stamens, and the basic unit of androecium is called stamen. And we can represent the stamen in the form of 4 lobes, like this, stamen. And gynoecium is made up of carpel. Among these, calyx and corolla are considered as the non-essential word of a flower because it is not directly taking part or directly not involved in the process of sexual reproduction. That is why it is called non-essential word. Whereas androecium is the male reproductive part, like that gynoecium is the female reproductive part, which directly involved in the sexual reproduction. That is why it is called essential word of a plant. But calyx and corolla is called non-essential word. And we know that calyx, the main function of calyx is to protect the flower in a bud state, whereas the corolla help for attracting the pollinating agent, thereby it help for sexual reproduction indirectly. Even though their function is like that, both calyx and corolla are considered as the non-essential word. Okay, that is about the flower. Next we need to study the different parts, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium in detail. Let us move into that topic. Okay. First one is called calyx, represented as K. Basic unit, sepal, represented as like this. So in Malvaceae family, usually the calyx are 5 in number and they are fused. That is why we can call it as a gamosepalous. Flowers are gamosepalous because its sepals are all fused. That is why we can say that sepals are connate. Sepals are connate. They are fused. In case of hibiscus, you can see all the 5 sepals are united mainly at their base and form a cup-like structure. So that indicates that sepal is a gamosepalous. Okay. And in some plants belongs to Malvaceae, the calyx are permanent in nature. Normally, calyx and corolla shed off or remove during the seed formation. But in some plants of this family, the calyx remain associated with fruit. That is why we can call some plant shows persistent calyx or permanent calyx. That calyx never shed off or removed during the seed formation. They remain as such. That's why we can say that its calyx is some plant. The calyx is a persistent calyx. Okay. And when we move into the corolla made up of corolla. See, basic unit is called petal, represented as like this petal. In case of corolla, they are not united, they are free. Then such type of corolla is called polypetalous. So the flower is a polypetalous. And its estivation is called twisted or alternate estivation. Twisted or alternate, like this, twisted or alternate estivation. Twisted or alternate. Whereas in case of calyx, its estivation is volvate. All the sepals are arranged in a face-to-face manner without any overlapping, like this. Petals are arranged in a face-to-face manner without any overlapping. Here all the petals are overlapping with each other in a particular direction. If we take the 5 petal One end of each petals are facing towards inside and one end of each petal are facing toward outside. Here I draw 5 petals. When we take any petal, you can see one end is out and one end is in. That is why it is called distal or alternate estivation. And when we move into the androecium, normally androecium, the basic unit of androecium is called stamens. That androecium contains an anther and a filament. This is anther, and this is called a filament. In case of Malvaceae family, all the stamens are united, but the fusing region is only the filament. So if all the filament of a stamens are united, then such condition is called adelphous. So here the stamens are adelphous in nature. And especially all the stamens are united into single bundle. Here I already told you that sepals are 5 in number. The sepals are 5 in number. And here the petals are also 5 in number. That is why it is called pentamerous. Whereas in case of androecium, the stamens are infinite in number. Stamens are infinite in number. The number is countless. But even though they are infinite, but all the stamens, all the filaments of a stamens are united into single bundle. That is why it is called monoadelphous stamen. Stamens are united into single bundle. In case of Malvaceae, especially in case of hibiscus, all the filaments get fused and form a tubulate structure. That is called staminal tube. That is why staminal tube. I will draw the picture so that you can easily able to understand the concept clearly. Suppose if you draw the rough diagram of hibiscus, you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 petals and also 5 sepals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sepals and 5 petals. And after that you can see a long red colored. You can see a long red colored tube. That red colored tube is called staminal tube. That staminal tubes are formed by the fusion of all the filaments of stamens. That is called staminal tube. Okay, so that is why I told that the stamens, all the filaments of the stamens are united into a tube-like structure and form a staminal tube. That is why you can say that stamens are androecium or stamens are adelphous, especially monoadelphous in nature. That is about the stamens. But all the anthers are free. Stamens only get fused here and form monoadelphous stamen. And next, when we move into the gynoecium, usually gynoecium is the female reproductive part, whereas androecium is the male reproductive part, represented by G. Here the gynoecium is made up of carpel or pistil. The basic unit of gynoecium is called carpel or pistil. That is also 5 in number. But in case of gynoecium, all the carpels get fused. That is why we can say that it is a syncarpus. It is syncarpus. And when we take the structure of carpel, you can see 3 parts. This is called ovary, this is called style, and this is called stigma. In this region, when we take the cross section of this region, we can see 5 carpels. That is syncarpus carpel. We can able to see syncarpus condition of that carpel. All the carpels are united into single structure like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And within that carpel, we can see 1 or 2 ovules. So the position of ovule is axillary. So gynoecium is made up of 5 carpel. They are syncarpus, and the arrangement of ovule within an ovary, that is placentation, is axillary placentation or axial placentation, or we can say that axile placentation. Actually we can say that Ovules are arranged at the central axis of an ovary, and we can see a cross wall, that is septum. That is why it is called axial placentation. So that is the main features of this family. So this is about the gynoecium. Okay. And that purple structure can also be viewed very clearly when we cut the fruit of any plant, any fruit of this family. You can also see the exact structure of this axial placentation. But when we take the cross section of the ovary, we can see that structure under dissection microscope very clearly. So this is about the gynoecium. So next we need to study what is bract. In some plant you can see a small outgrowth at the base of flower, that is called bract. And those plant or those flower which have bract is called bracteate, and those without bract is called ebracteate. If the flower have bract, then we can say that this is bracteate flower, that is BR. If it lack, then we can say that this is ebracteate. So in this family most of the flowers have bract, that is why it is called bracteate. If in case of hibiscus, we can also see bracteole in the form of the epicalyx. That is why we can also say that some species, some members shows bracteole also. Okay, so that is about the floral description. And when we move into the fruit, we can see different categories, different kinds of fruit. We can also find out different kind of fruit among this family. Okay, one is called here one fruit is called capsule. Example for capsule is hibiscus and gossypium. And like that you can see schizocarpic fruit. In case of Malva, Abutilon, Sida acuta, you can see, and in some cases you can also see the berry fruit. It's a small berry-like fruit. That is in case of Malva viscus penduliformis, you can see berry also. This is about the fruit of plant. So next let us need to study the floral formula and floral diagram of this plant. So let us try to study the floral diagram and floral formula. So when we take the case of calyx, I already told you that sepal is made up of, calyx is made up of 5 sepals. So I draw here one sepal, sepal 2, sepal 3. All the sepals are arranged in a face-to-face manner. That is why we call it as valvate. 4 and 5. So calyx 5 in number. Like that, corolla. Here all the sepals are fused. That is why I connect all those sepals. Next, petal. Petals are also 5 in number, but they are not arranged in a valvate order. They are arranged in a twisted form. Twisted, 5 in number. They are free. That is why I am not connected. Then stamens are infinite in number and they are fused. Stamens are united into single bundle. So infinite in number. And they are intros. They are facing towards inside. So like this. You can see the 4 lobes. But here the structure of anther is reniform or kidney in shape, so that you can draw like this. Reniform anther, kidney shape. So the number of stamens are infinite and are in rows. But all the filaments are fused. So that is monoadelphous in nature. And one more thing about that the stem, all the filaments of stamens are united into single bundle. That form is called staminal tube. That staminal tube are emerging from the petal. That is why we can also say that staminal tubes are epipetalous in nature. They are coming from the petal. And last thing about this floral diagram is carpet, made up of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And ovules are arranged in an axial placentation format. This is about the floral diagram of the family Malvaceae. And you can see this is the posterior part. And from this you can also found the bract and bracteole over here. Bract and bracteole. That will be varied for each flower. The number of bract and bracteole may vary. And when we move into the floral formula, first of all we need to write whether bract is present or bract is absent. So here I use BR, bracteate. Next we need to know the symmetry. I already told you it is a bisection. So it is an actinomorphic. And sexuality, it is a bisection. Then epicalyx. I already told you that the flower contains epicalyx. So EPI, epicalyx. It may be varied. 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 4 to 7, anything like that. 3 to 5, 3 to 7, something like that. Epicalyx. Then calyx, 5 in number. No, it can fuse, that is why I use bracket. Corolla, 5 in number. It is free, that is why I am not using bracket. And rhizome, infinite in number, but their filaments are fused. That is why I use bracket. Gynoecium, 5 fused. And they are superior, that is why I use the line superior gynoecium. Here the gynoecium is superior in position. So this is about the floral formula and this is about the floral diagram of this plant family. Okay, that is about the details regarding with the family Malvaceae. Here I uses the floral diagram and I draw floral diagram and write the floral formula of the family Malvaceae, especially hibiscus roses and Okay, thank you.